It's time to talk PGA Tour golf. Does that make a Professional Golfers Association golf? I don't like that. Time to talk golf.
It works.
How's it going, Jared?
Good. Not as good as you're doing, I bet, though.
Yeah, I was very proud of myself.
I mean, that's got to be the best hit either of us have had since we started doing this. We've been doing it for what, close to 2 years now.
Yeah, we do. Did we hit any majors?
Oh, I think we've hit majors. I think
we hit favorites. You mean?
Yeah, but yeah, I hit JT and Cam Smith last year, but they were 20-25-1.
Okay.
I don't think we've hit anyone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he was 90.
90, and there were. I mean, 90 is the number we used, but even on Wednesday there were, I think, 150
You're
still
right.
out there on Harmon. So
because I put, like, in the beginning of the week when I usually put my initial bets in, I put a buck on him, I think, at 125.
Yep.
And then that next stage when it's all right, go over all your picks, and I was like, I can't have him at 125. And I go ahead and I added another buck on it to make it 100, to make it 275. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it made a lot of sense for all the reasons you talked about last week. I mean, that he had the open history.
Yep.
Playing well coming in. We talked about it being more of an accuracy course, which I think played out. Off the tee, Harmon led the field in fairways. The only thing that kept me off him was the fact that he hadn't won since 2017.
Correct. Another tough golf course.
Time.
Wells Fargo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But I mean, everything else lined up for him.
Yeah, if you look at it, let's see. He had a runner-up in the 17 U.S. Open. He had a third in the Players in 2021. He was sixth in the Open Championship in 2022. Those were his best major finishes. So he had shown that he could play in the matter of fact, when we went over our fantasy team at the beginning of the year, I remember when I picked them, that's exactly what I said. I said, yeah, you know what? If I can get, he's usually pretty good in the Open, and he did 2 Open majors. Maybe I'll get lucky. And then he got off to such a bad start, I dropped him. And then it was like, all right, now he's starting to get hot again. So that was, again, expecting that, but that's why it's awesome when it happens, because it doesn't happen very often. So it was great, especially since it was a runaway.
I was going to say, I mean, not only did Brian Harmon just win a major, but he won it in completely dominant fashion.
Yeah.
That's easily the most surprising golf result we've seen all year.
I don't. That's the one thing that I can't recall that I ever was able. Now, I'm not saying I never had a runaway pick, but the combination of a major and a runaway pick and 90-1, yeah, probably
Yeah.
the best situation that I probably ever had handicapping.
Yep.
Because the runaways, it's more often than not you don't get them. More often than not you're sitting there on the opposite end just hating life that you're having to deal with a major and a runaway, and you didn't even have the guy
Right.
who's leading. Yeah. So yeah, that was satisfying in itself, and it got close a couple of times early on Saturday and Sunday. But I will tell you, after it got close to whatever 2 or 3 strokes on Sunday, I forget what it was. You kind of felt, I don't think, I'm based on how he did well on Saturday after a slow start, you kind of felt, you know what, I'm going to give him a couple more holes. I don't think this is necessarily nerves. Maybe these holes early on, he just needs to, kind of get his game going after the first 6 holes or something. I don't know, but.
Well, that's one thing about Harmon. I mean, for a, mid-tier golfer, it never looks like he's rattled by anything. It never looked like
That's
he was
important.
rattled in that tournament. And the other thing too, though, is no one really made a run at him. All the low scores on Sunday were guys that started at like -2 or -3 to get him to -7. But none of the guys that were at 5 or 6 really made a push.
That was the key. Was that when he got off to the slow start on Sunday, none of those golfers that were, whether it was Young or Rahm or Hovland or Fleetwood or any of those guys that were there, nobody made a run. If somebody would have went 2 or 3 under par when he went 2 over par, how does he handle that? I don't know. I mean, maybe all of a sudden it's a little bit different, but it never happened. So
it does seem, and I think the results have bared this out with, I think Tiger and Rory both won pretty comfortably when they won there. I think that
really,
course. Yeah, I know Rory did. I think Tiger won pretty easily too, didn't he? I'd have to look that up. But I
okay,
think that course is just good. That course is a good course to be playing with the lead, because you can just you can play that course kind of safe and just make a bunch of pars. Whereas if you're chasing, you have to take more aggressive lines off the tee, attack more pins, and then you can get into trouble. So I think it's a good course to get out to a lead and just kind of coast.
I all the time I've been watching golf, and I guess probably because we only watch these Open Championships once a year. What was that term that they were using for out of bounds?
The gorse bush.
No. They were calling it something. Was it an out of bounds or something penalty or something?
Oh, the internal OB.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
And I had never really heard that used before. What the hell is he talking about?
that's unique. I mean, that's unique. That's not even a links thing. That's pretty much unique to that course. I
Oh,
think
is
there's
it
other.
just
I
Liverpool?
mean, I think there are other courses, but it's not. You don't get that like every links course. Like they don't
Yeah,
have
that's
that
why I
at
haven't
St.
remember hearing
Andrews.
about it.
Yeah.
And what was it? Why? What was the big deal about using like what did that mean?
I think those courses in general tend to be so wide open that they wanted to, and I don't even know if they use that all the time, like when members are playing there. But at least for this tournament, they wanted to, put in some guardrails basically on these fairways, so guys had to keep it, at least somewhere near the hole.
Like I was hearing
So,
one of the announcers made like some sort of point that maybe a correct strategy would be to like use that to your advantage somehow. I don't know what the hell they were talking about. How can you use out of bounds as into your advantage?
yeah.
But I don't know. All I remember was seeing Terrell Hatton go from two
Oh
under to
yeah,
two over on Friday with one bad
yeah.
swing.
Well, that's the thing. Like even with Harmon's big lead, I mean, by the time he got to 18 on Sunday, he could have hit it OB twice and still
Yeah.
won. But
Yeah.
like you just kept thinking, even if his lead is 2 or 3 on 18, like he could have lost it with one bad swing. So I liked that course a lot. That
Yes.
was that was that was my I guess outside of Augusta, between the other 3 majors this season, I liked that course better than Oak Hill or LACC.
Yeah. Well, you know your course. So,
Oak Hill's. I mean, it is what it is. It's a bomb and gouge course. You got to hit it long to win there. I thought this course required a lot more strategy.
yeah. Yeah, the LA, I don't ever want to go back there again. I didn't like that.
Not very memorable, that one.
No. Like I said, I don't know. Even though it was close, it was something, I don't know, maybe it was just the course. It was just something about it.
Well, it was the course and the lack of energy in the crowd, just because
Was
they
that it
didn't
too?
let.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't let enough people into that one.
Yeah. So, and next year, what's the deal next year? What do we have for next year? Do you recall?
That's a good question. I think the U.S. Open's at Pinehurst. I want to say.
Yeah. See what the deal is for.
PGA is at let's see. Yeah, something's at Pinehurst. Let's see. Yeah, U.S. Open's at Pinehurst. The Open is at Troon, and the PGA is at Valhalla.
Valhalla.
Which is Kentucky.
Sounds like
Pinehurst. Pinehurst is a good course.
Do we remember trying to? Yeah. Well, we'll
I
for
think
another
that's.
day. But
I think Keimer won last time I was there.
oh, that's that
Right?
course.
Yep.
Oh, that's the one that Dustin Johnson screwed up because of the he hit the ball when he wasn't supposed to, or like he played it in the I forget what it was. It was something.
Oh yeah, he grounded his club in the bunker, right? And got
like he didn't realize where he was because
Pinehurst has those areas where it's like more a waste area, so I think it's hard to tell whether you're in the waste area or a bunker. I think that's kind of where it gets tricky there.
Yeah, so because I remember that one, Keimer, because I had Keimer. Yeah. That's why Keimer is one of my favorite golfers, because I had him with every big event. I had him, so nice. And I cashed the biggest in the Players that year.
Oh, wow. He won by 8 strokes, too.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
didn't
There you
remember
go.
that.
There's one I probably, but he was
You
probably like
know,
40-1 though that year.
you know who tied for second?
Let's see. That was who tied for second?
So DJ and Brooks were both part of a group that tied for fourth. There were 2 guys in second. One of them I've never heard of, Eric Compton.
Yeah, he's still
And
playing,
then,
I think.
is he? No, I haven't seen
Who's
this
the
name. And
other
then
one?
the other one is Ricky.
Ricky. Okay.
Ricky T2 there, so I'm sure he'll be a popular bet again.
Yeah, there you go. Not that he used that second place finish to his advantage at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, hey, you know what? It's that's golf. We can't all have the great majors, and that was the unfortunate thing this year, is that we didn't really have that memorable major. You know, I mean, there were some good moments, there were some weak moments, but for the most part, it was just another year of majors. Nothing spectacular. Nothing where you
PGA
could,
was memorable. PGA was memorable for me because I was there and I hit the winner.
there you go.
I won't forget that one.
That's it. That's your play of the year. That's your moment of the year. And we still have the playoffs, and we'll have our playoff preview show in a few weeks. So keep that in mind. Because we haven't really gone through, because we've been talking a lot about futures with majors, and we're not going to be doing much of that anymore. But we do have future. Well, that's the one thing I don't understand. And please, does somebody have this information with all of the odds that are always available? Why don't, like, where are the playoff to win the championship odds? Where am I missing that? How come that's not like out? Like, why doesn't Draft Sharks have that like for all season? I don't understand.
So the playoffs is the FedEx Cup Championship, right? That's
yeah, FedEx Cup. They can call it the Tour Championship.
So Caesars has it. I'm looking at it right now.
They do. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if you have access to Caesars, but
that would probably.
So yeah, we can use that for our show.
Yeah. We'll
so right now, like Rahm is plus 285. Scheffler's plus 300, Rory's plus 500, and then it's a big drop to Homa at 12-1.
Wow, those odds are terrible. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's because
how
they do it is Rahm's going to start at what -10.
Yeah.
Right, and then Scheffler will be -9, and Rory will be -8 or whatever. I mean, it's hard to. Yeah, I think.
They still have to play the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's going to be some movement, but
yeah.
I mean, I think I would guess Rahm, Scheffler, and Rory, they're probably locked into like at least the top 5, I would think.
You would think. As long as they don't have a really bad score, which the way Scheffler's playing, he's the only one, though, that you can guarantee he's probably going to be, even though he had like one of his worst. I mean, he
almost missed the cut.
He did. There's something about this, whether it's links or going over there. Even though he's had some top 10s and top 5s, if you just look at it statistically, it's just not his best golf.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, he's still. I got it right here. He was still third best in the field, tee to green.
So he was a lousy putter again.
Yeah. Again, same deal as always. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody that you noticed in that championship odds that would be a good pick right now?
I have to look more.
Bring that up. We'll talk about that next week, maybe.
Yeah,
we'll start going through some of those futures. Again, I don't even know if it's available on your sports books. That's the problem, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll start talking more about it and posting something soon. Okay, let's go over the second half of our show now to talk about what's going on. We have a couple of. Well, this week, I would guess because next week there's going to be players that are going to try to get in. So that one would be maybe a little bit more interesting. Maybe even the field might be a little bit better, but I don't know. Maybe not, because there might be a bunch of players, especially the top guys, that are just going to be like, yeah, I'm taking these 2 weeks off, these 2 events off into the playoffs. I don't know. I know that they shrunk it from 4 to 3 because they really wanted. I don't know. I'm just guessing it was because they wanted to have these guys play each event, and they wanted it more valuable because guys were taking playoff events off. So I don't recall last year if anybody really important, if many players took that first playoff event off. But if they didn't, then I would think that we'll probably have the same type of field next week. Cam Young is really Finau and Young. These are the top choices. And I'll say this because, matter of fact, I'll tell you what. Before we do that, I want to pop up the stats, and we can go over your stats first for this week because you can tell us why you're picking these stats. So here's the stat number one. That's, of course, top 10 course history. Big surprise, who's up on top? Mr. Finau. Number two is in par 5 scoring since the beginning of the year. So you see Sungjae Im is at the top. And you got some Finau is also there. You got some young players that have started to make a name, including a couple Swedes we'll get into. Mm-hmm. And then number 3, opportunities gained since the beginning of the year. JT, I can't even believe he's at the top of anything this year, unless it was something bad. And then Finau was in every one of these, and Sungjae's in this list too, and there's Aberg again. Yep. So I guess I got to ask you about why opportunities gained.
Yeah, so opportunities gained, it's a stat that I believe is only on Fantasy National, which is again the site I use for my stats and research. So what it is it's anytime you're inside 15 feet for birdie, they count that as an opportunity. So it's just who's giving themselves the most birdie chances, which I think is important this week. And this isn't the easiest course, but the winner is going to be somewhere between 15 and 20 under. So you're going to need to make plenty of birdies. So I think opportunities gained is a good stat to look at this week. And JT, number one, I guess, that hasn't been his issue. It's been making the birdie putts, which, he's been putting for all year. And I think making too many bogeys and bigger numbers. That's been his problem. But he has at least been giving himself birdie looks.
I'm surprised Scheffler's not in that.
This is only for players in this field.
Oh, okay. Only in the players in the field. Then that makes a little bit more sense. Okay. And you mentioned the average winning score under par in the 4 events, 18 under par. All 4 winners are American. And get this, the first winner, Matthew Wolff, was ranked over 1,600. He was 1,659. Thompson was 218. Champ was 119. Finau finally broke that trend as the only player to win here that was in the top 100. So we'll see whether that means anything.
Yeah, Finau was 14-1 when he won last year, but the other 3 guys, Champ was 150-1, Thompson was 125-1, and Matthew Wolff was 175-1.
There you go, big money to be made.
Definitely bet long shots this week.
Absolutely, yeah. There's one player that I'm putting. I'm thinking my strategy this week is really going to be more of like my own personal strategy. And look and I'll say this too for the one and done situation. It's actually there are, there's Im, Young, Finau, Matsuyama as the top 4, but me personally, I'd have to put Young and Finau in first and second, and then Im and Matsuyama if you wanted to do that. Third and fourth. That's just me. But as far as one and done, I would look. We'll pop up the picks because it's one of my picks. Oh, there's a bear outside. So,
bear?
Yeah, I got to go do something. But go ahead and explain your one and dones potentially for this week.
Yeah, look, again, at this point of the season, it more comes down to who you have left. I do like Sungjae Im. His game's kind of rounding into form. 20th at the Open last week, which was actually, I believe, his best Open finish ever. He hasn't really been good on links courses, but he has a good course history here. Second last year, 15th in his other appearance back in 2019. And if you look at some of the courses that I think sort of match up with this one, I think the Rocket Mortgage, you see a lot of the same guys playing well at both these, but also Honda Classic, you see a lot of the same players playing well there and here. I think it's because there's a lot of water on this course. Like the Honda Classic, and of course Sungjae is a former Honda Classic winner. So I like Sungjae.
You do.
He's my favorite pick among those top four you mentioned.
Well, how are you doing overall? Like, where are you right now? Since we only have
Yeah.
4 more one and dones left.
Yep. Yeah, my one is horrible. I have 7.9 million, but then my other team has 14.8 million. I'm in the money there. And in that one, I do have Sungjae. I have Sungjae and Cam Young left in that one, as well as some other guys lower down the board. But I'm probably going to end up going with Sungjae as my pick there.
You think you need to do to put yourself in a position where you're like in the top 20?
I can tell you. So 20th place is 20 million. So I'm over 5 million behind. I would need to hit like 3 winners
To get into the top 20.
the end of the top 20. Yeah.
And how many winners? So top 20. How many wins do they have?
So the guy in 20th has 5 wins. The guy who's winning has 8 wins. That's.
And
impressive.
you have 4?
I have 4. Yep.
But what you're saying that you just don't have enough big wins out of the 4?
I get. So I hit Scheffler at the Players, which is the biggest. I think I hit one of the majors, and then I hit 2 like lower level. It's probably like the elevated events. I don't think I've done well enough in. I've probably lost too much ground in the elevated events.
So Sungjae is gonna end up being your top one and done.
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
For me, I have already used him up, but I would have been I'm going to go ahead and put up our picks here. Where are we? All right, so there's Jared's picks. There's my picks, and at the top, you see it right there is Cam Young. So, yeah, I really wanted to avoid having to put Young in this list because it's taken up nearly half of my money, and I'd rather have spent that in this type of event on a bunch of other players we'll get into in a little bit. But I don't know. I just got a feeling now, even though that's usually been the worst case for Cam Young this year. But when he's hot, he usually stays hot, and he's hot, and he still hasn't won yet. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe this could be the week for him. But other than that, like I said, that's why I would definitely look at him as a one and done. But I guess if you avoid or the top 4, and again, I've got your picks up here. Who would be your top consideration as like a sleeper? Would it be one of your picks here?
Yeah, I think Aberg you could definitely consider. I think Sepp Straka is playing as well as anyone. He's probably playing better than anyone in this field if you just look over the last month. Now, can he win again? That'd be kind of crazy, but I think he could definitely, top 10, top 5. I think he's a good bet to finish high up this leaderboard. I think Emiliano Grillo makes sense. He's played well here. Yes. He continues coming off a good week at the Open. So
he's on my picks
I don't think
too.
you have to go too far down the board. Like I wouldn't really go past the Aberg. Jaeger is someone I considered betting. I think Cam Davis we'll talk about. I think I wouldn't go deeper than that. I think those guys are going to be low owned if you're playing behind. I think you can use someone like a Straka or a Grillo, and they're probably going to be 2 or 3% owned.
So you think that your strategy, one and done strategy, you think you're better off just going with the player that you think is going to win, as opposed to taking, say, a player that again, let's just say it's Aberg or one of your top 3 guys. Mm-hmm. Because chances are, if any of those guys win, not that many people are going to have that player. You don't think it's in your best strategy to do that? That's why I guess I got to help you out more.
Yeah, I maybe this is wrong, but the one where I'm in the money, I don't think I'm gonna gain a ton of. I think I'm too far behind to get into the top 20. This one I'm just trying to hang on and stay in the money. Make my $150 or whatever it is.
Okay. How much?
I don't think I can really climb much higher. I think I'm currently winning $150.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm in 145th place. Yeah, all the money's up top. This one had 1,100 people in it. So,
Okay.
the guy in first is winning 15K.
Okay.
So you got to get up to the very, very tippy top to win anything big.
All right. So let's go through it, and let's see here. So again, as far as yeah, Young. The only thing is with Cam Young is that he hasn't played this course before. I don't really think that's too big of a deal for a player like Cam Young. And then, like I said, I got Grillo as my second choice. And I just had to go with Grillo because I know even though he's won already this year, this is like his best golf course. I mean, he's finished second, he's finished third, and he's as hot as he's ever been, including a very impressive sixth last week in a major. So you got to think his confidence level. He's just won. He was contending in a major, and now he's going to a golf course that fits him perfectly. So I could not take him this week.
Yeah, no arguments for me. He's fourth in my model for the week. And I think it's a good course fit for him, and I think last week was a good course fit for him. More of an accuracy course, didn't have to be a bomber off the tee. That's sort of what this is. By the way, this course is interesting too because you look at the winners, and they're all guys who hit it very far. But if you just look at the overall layout of this course, I don't think you need to be a big driver to win here. I think it's just so happened to be that the guys that have won have been bombers.
Okay. Aberg and Davis at 30-1. Those are your top two picks. So you're going back with the kid. For me, it's just the fact that, like I said before, I think it's so hard for a young player that hasn't played a whole lot to do it. It's happened before, but that's the only reason I stay away from it. But yeah, the kid's still playing. His confidence is still pretty high. You would think. He missed a cut. At Scottish Open, right?
Yes. Yep. I mean, fourth at the John Deere before that. Even in 40th at Rocket Mortgage, 24th at Travelers. But I've watched him play quite a bit because ESPN Plus has been having him on the featured groups, on Thursday and Friday. So I've been able to see he's just super impressive. I think I'd have to go back and look at the actual results, but it seems like in all these tournaments he's had one bad round that's just sort of taken him out of contention. So I mean, I think that comes with being a young player. If he can string 4 good rounds together, he's plenty good to win, especially in a weaker field like this.
Yeah, that's true. Because look what happened last week as your boy Badia.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. This is now all right. It's happened a second time, so it's now official. You must continue, even if it's got to be like that group of 2 or 3 players. It could be 5 that you've just got to put money on in these events that you just don't even care about because it's now happened twice in the last what it happened to you with what was it last year? Was it Svensson last year?
Svensson, yeah, that was a fall. I mean, that was a fall event. I don't know. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I don't.
I know.
I don't have time once football starts. And
whether it's a fall event or the major, they all pay the same.
I'm gonna need you to shoot me texts every Wednesday night. Remind me to bet my guys.
All right, I'll do that. Okay, so Cam Davis, I totally like this pick. I would have probably thought I was thinking really hard about doing it myself because the last 3 trips here all in the top 30 with 2 top 20s.
Yeah, and he won the Rocket Mortgage, which again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of crossover between 2 courses. So I just think it's a good spot for him. He hasn't been consistent lately, but he's had, tournaments where he's popped. 17th at Rocket Mortgage this year. 4th at the PGA, 17th at the Heritage. So it's been an inconsistent season. But I always say these are the kind of guys I want to bet to win because I don't care if they miss the cut. I want the guys who, if they bring their A game, I know they're good enough to win the whole thing. And I think that's definitely true of Cam Davis.
And then after that, you went with another. Well, actually, you know what? My pick was next at 35-1, Adam Hadwin. And we talked about this last month. He's running out of time to win another Canadian. And this is the perfect last chance probably for him because he's played here 3 times. He has 2 top 10s, 1 top 5. So, yeah, I think this is a good chance for Hadwin to keep that Canadian juju going.
Yeah, I mean, really could have won the Rocket Mortgage. Did everything right there. And the irons have been on fire. So I like that. I like the pick.
And at 45 to 1, this was a no-brainer for both of us, and that's Lucas Glover. How can we not continue to take Lucas Glover in his last three events, 5th, 6th, and 4th, which is probably the best run he's ever had in his career in the PGA Tour, and he does have one top 10 in the only time that he ever made the cut out of 3 trips. So he's a no-brainer at 45 to 1. And then my pick, which I would have made Glover the pick, but you did, so I didn't, and instead I put Post on in there, and Post on 11th last year. And if you look at it, he has 2 PGA Tour wins, 1 in July, 1 in August. That's this time of year. He's already showing that. 6th at the Scottish Open, 6th at the John Deere, made the cut last week. So, I like both of these guys at 45 to 1.
Yeah, actually, I hadn't looked too hard at Poston, but that makes sense. Two good showings at this tournament, too. I was happy to see Glover, and he was actually even 55 to 1 this morning. I think even 45 to 1. I'd make him like 35 to 1 in this field. I think he should be with those Hadwin, Jaeger, those types.
I agree.
It's got to be the best iron stretch of his career. He gained 10 strokes on approach at the Barbasol. I know that's a weaker event, but that was still the best approach event of his entire career. And we've talked about the putting is improved as well since he switched to the broom, whatever
he's
red
doing.
Hot. It's all lining up for Glover. I think he's my favorite bet of the week at 45 to 1.
All right, and then at 50 to 1, you're going with Eckroat, and Eckroat played here in 2021 and finished 16th. Why are you going with Eckroat this week?
Yeah, that was one of, if not his first events on tour. When he came 16th here, so I like that. Like that he's seen the course. Struggled at the Genesis Open, 65th, and then missed the cut at the Rocket Mortgage event before that. He had just been red hot prior to that, so I'm just kind of hoping on him, regaining form. And he really does everything you need to do to win here. He's excellent off the tee. He can get hot on approach. He's a good putter. He's just another young kid who I think is going to get a win pretty soon, and I think this is a good spot for him to do it.
Well, a lot of people like your idea. He was 80 to 1 earlier today, and he's dropped all the way down now to 50 to 1. So get him now. All right. Then next for me, I put KH Lee in there, and he was on my board, and I wasn't really sure about taking him, and then I saw him on one of your stats, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna that'll put him over the top for me. And I don't care about how he's playing. He doesn't need to be in form to win. What I like is that he's played here 3 times. He's improved not only his results all 3 years, but his scoring all 3 years, including a couple of years ago when he was 6th and 11 under par.
Yeah, and the guy who's won a couple times over the last couple of years, even though it's been at the same course. So you just like guys that have done it, got to win on the PGA Tour.
And then as far as the upset, long shot, for me, it's Chesson Hadley. I've mentioned him a couple of times in the last 6 weeks, and I'm going to go with him this week at 110 to 1. I think it's the perfect time for me to take him because he is also in 4 events, in all 4, he has improved his scoring in all 4, from 9 over par all the way to 9 under par last year in 10th place. And this is a guy that has 4 career KFT wins and a PGA Tour win as well. So he does have the ability. It's just been a while. And you're going to go with someone that we've never spoken before on this show, Trevor Cohn at 250 to 1.
Yeah, Trevor Cohn. Definitely the first time I've bet him. Not even sure I've ever seen him hit a golf ball. But
Cohn.
He's a
Rocket Mortgage? I'm trying to figure out why you're taking him.
Well, so I don't think he played. Well, so the 2 reasons I'm taking him. 1, he might be the longest driver in this entire field.
Okay.
And 2, last time out at the Barbasol, he
was third. Yeah.
And I mean and he did it how we want to see it. So he was second in the field that week on approach, behind only our guy Lucas Glover, and he was first strokes gained off the tee. So he tee to green, he was the best in the field. Actually tied with Lucas Glover for the best in the field. So I don't know. Maybe he's found something. Maybe he's hot.
Hey,
He's 200. He's 250 to 1 in an event that we've seen. Long shots win three or four times.
there you go. Other players that I'm seriously thinking about at least putting a buck down on, or at least now here are the guys that I was really close to taking. I was really close to taking Cameron Champ. He's played well here the last 2 years. He's the winner in 21. He's also trending in the right direction. 17th last week, and he's 65 to 1. And then I was really close to taking Higo, which I'll put money on. Higo's at 60 to 1. He's trending in the right direction. And remember, he's got 6 pro wins, so he knows how to win. I was also close to taking Alexander Noren, who is 3rd in 2020 and 23rd last week, 9th at the Rocket Mortgage. Hubbard, yes, why not go back to Hubbard because he's back to playing well. 10th at the Barracuda, 6th at the John Deere, 16th here in 21 in his only trip. And Fox was the last guy that was almost on my list, Ryan Fox, because he's starting to play consistently, and it was just a matter of getting comfortable here in the U.S., and I like that. He's got 4 top 30s in his last 6. So those are the guys that just missed the cut for me. How about you?
Yeah. There's a lot of my favorites in this field, so I had to kind of be selective and cut some of them. But Adam Svensson is in this field. It's been a rough 2-3 months for him, but he did come 21st at John Deere. Last time out, he gained strokes across the board, so maybe he's rounding back into form. Doug Gim continues to play well. I consider him.
By the way, what is Justin Bennett Thomas doing at 20 to 1? I don't care if it's a field like this at all. Is anybody watching how he's playing? 20 to who's going to put money on Justin Thomas at 20 to 1?
Well, now he's 25 to 1, and
he better.
If he gets to 35 to 1, I'd be tempted. And I fell into that trap last week and did not end well. But the last guy I looked at was Sam Bennett, who had the good run at the Masters. He's not as talented as Aberg, but he's probably the second most talented guy who just kind of popped onto the PGA Tour this year. So he's definitely someone to keep in mind. I don't know if he's ready to win yet, but maybe if you're doing top 20 bets or playing on DraftKings, I like Sam Bennett.
All right, and then some other long shots. By the way, I'm liking the fact that Jason Duffner has played well his last 2 events.
Okay,
500 to 1. Yeah, so I'm like, all right, maybe another couple of events, maybe next year. Hopefully he could be somebody to keep an eye on again. It's nice to see him getting maybe his game going, but it's only 2 events. Who else? I mean, Hojgaard is going to be interesting to watch. He had a really good doubleheader over there, including 23rd at the Open Championship. So Hostler is starting to trend in the right direction. But he's always a really crazy. I mean, if I'm ever going to take Hostler in an event, I need 100 to 1. I can't.
I don't like this course for him because he gets wild off the tee.
Yeah,
there's a lot of water.
And I was actually thinking about Woodland there for a little bit. He's made 5 straight cuts, and he was 11th in 21 here.
So Woodland is first in my model this week.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Why didn't you take him?
I don't like the number.
Yeah, I know that's a bummer. Is he still 35?
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
In this field, I guess it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was also somebody that I was definitely thinking about too. Our boy Cole, it's somebody that we're high on in the future. Rye is in the mix again potentially. And by the way, as we close out. Remember, I forget why we talked about it, but remember we had that conversation with one of our viewers about the Swedes, and we specifically pointed out that Vincent Norman would be the one to keep the eye on, and he goes on and he wins a couple of weeks ago.
I didn't put money on that one either. No,
he was one of the favorites though. He was like the third choice at 25 or 20 to 1 or something. That's why I couldn't bet him at 20 to 1.
Yeah, I mean he's a legit young player. We'll hear his name plenty more going forward.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're into course history. Bryce Garnett is 3rd in course history here, and he's 300 to 1.
Bryce Garnett.
Bryce Garnett. Yep, and he's not playing horribly lately. So,
okay.
I don't know. I'm not doing it, but
300 to 1.
300 to 1.
Let's see. He's in this group here. Yes, there he is. Bryce Garnett. Adam Long. Hank Liebiota, and Michael Gligic in your top 10. Okay, let's see if there's any other crazy names here. Oh, Norman's in this top par 5. Davis
Yes.
Thompson. I got a sneaking feeling about him last time, and he started to play, so I don't know. I think he needs one top 10 or top 15, and I think we'll
Yeah.
Problem is we're running out of events. We have to look at the fall schedule.
Yeah, Thompson had the second at Amex, and then he went on a long slump, but then the last 2 times out, 24th and 31st.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I like, is that he's coming back. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, Straka, he's also going to be tough to beat. Guys like Straka and Griot, you just wonder about, as good as they're playing, you do wonder whether or not they're just going to kind of exhale. Right, after playing overseas, major, good event, good finish. Will they kind of just chill, especially at odds like they have? And that's the one thing I would have been concerned about. All right, so that's it. Wrap it up. We are going to be back again next week, of course. And what's next week? What is it? What's it called? The Wyndham?
Wyndham, yep.
That's Northeast?
That is one of the Carolinas.
North it's Carolina.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe.
You think I would know that, but it's probably like 3 or 4 hours from me. It's probably all the
way
east.
Greensboro.
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours away. All right. Appreciate it as always, Jared. We will talk to you again next Monday as we start running out of events. And Jared and I will be talking fantasy football soon. So we will keep you informed on this show and the other shows, and definitely on Discord. So sign up on Discord, not just for golf, but when we switch over from golf to definitely football, that's where you catch us. So Jared, we'll talk again next week.
Thanks, Greg. Good luck.